Welcome to the channel, everybody, and Madden 20. My name is MrHurriicane, and I'm very excited about today's video. If you're not familiar with me, I am a franchise guy. I love making franchise content. I really enjoy franchise mode, and it really doesn't matter which game it is. I just like building up teams, adding players, watching their stories develop, seeing who becomes superstars. I can't get enough of it, and it's my favorite kind of content to make. And so here on Madden 20 today, I am revealing the team that I'll be using in franchise mode this year. And this is obviously coming off of a disappointing Madden 19 for me, where I did not actually do my franchise for very long. I wasn't very happy with the gameplay and was hoping Madden 20 would be much better. And Madden 20, I believe, is certainly a better game than Madden 19, and I'm ready to get back to franchise. I've missed it this entire time, and I want to get to work with a brand new team. So, sorry Dolphins fans, I didn't do a whole lot with the Dolphins. I hope to get around to them again someday. But today I want to reveal my team to you, and I think this year more than any, I've considered so many teams. And that's even considering I've already done so many series with different teams, and I'm picking basically from who is left over, and there's still so many options. I've broken down many of these teams, and I figured out which challenge I find the most intriguing. When I decide what team I want to take, I obviously look at their current roster situation and take a look at where the challenges are going to be. But I also look at the teams they're going to play against, their contract situations, do they rely on too many aging veterans, and I think I found the team that's perfect for what I look for this year. Yesterday I did a live stream where I was testing out some sliders, and I was really enjoying the gameplay, and it really made me want to get to franchise, and I'm so excited to get underway. So let's not waste any more time. Who's it gonna be in Madden 20? The Denver Broncos are my team as I return to franchise on this channel on Madden. That's right, the Denver Broncos were the team that I ended up with because I really wanted to work on rebuilding their current roster and knowing who we'd be playing twice a year. Patrick Mahomes took the league by storm last season with one of the best offenses we've ever seen, and he's only in his third year, and we're not going anywhere unless we can beat him. There's also the Los Angeles Chargers, who made it to the postseason last year, and I think they might be the most complete roster in the NFL. And I would say they are the most complete in the AFC. The Raiders are a bit of a wild card because they have turned the roster over with John Gruden. They traded away Khalil Mack, and then they trade for Antonio Brown, and they still have a ton of picks from that Khalil Mack trade to add to what they already have. So this could be a very tough division, and it's the exact kind of challenge I look for in franchise. The only box that Denver didn't check for me is success. And recently, in this past decade, they've made it to 2 Super Bowls, and they won one. They won a Super Bowl back in early 2016. But this team has changed a lot since then, and very few players from that Super Bowl championship team even remain on the Broncos. Everybody knows Von Miller, of course, one of the top players in the NFL. He's one of our superstar X Factors here in Madden 20. But he is 30 years old, and this team obviously is not in a win-now type of mode. So it's hard to really say if we're going to be good while Von Miller is still an elite pass rusher in the NFL. If you look at the top-rated players on this team, outside of Phillip Lindsay, they're relying on some players who are certainly getting older, and their prime window is closing. Von Miller, Chris Harris, Emmanuel Sanders, and Kareem Jackson are all really good players, and they give us players to start building around, but they're not going to be the same down the road in the series. Chris Harris, for instance, is only on a 1-year contract, so we have to worry about that right away. Do you give him a big deal if we're rebuilding and he's already going to be, 31 at the time of signing his next deal? Kareem Jackson, they have him listed at strong safety, but I'm kind of leaning towards putting him back at corner because we're not exactly deep there. I think adding Bryce Callahan was a nice move. He's a very good slot, but you need 3 corners that can play at all times, and I think we might need Jackson there, and that would open up a spot at safety. Thankfully, our free safety is Justin Simmons in his 4th year out of Boston College, and that means his rookie deal is up after this season, and we could look at giving him a new deal, but you gotta remember, he's better against the run than he is in coverage. The Broncos are a defensive football team, and since Peyton Manning left, this offense really has not been the same. They got lucky last year that they were able to sign Phillip Lindsay undrafted, and he had a phenomenal rookie season, and I certainly want to build around his skill set, but you need more than just an electrifying running back. And yes, there is Emmanuel Sanders, but he's 32 years old, and he's going to be regressing here pretty heavily. Thankfully, he's a good possession receiver, and I think if you're only going to have one really reliable receiver, it needs to be someone who can run good routes and has reliable hands. So Sanders fits that perfectly. But we can't talk anymore about the offense without talking quarterback. Let's go to the adjust lineup screen here and take a look at some developments too. But obviously, this team went out and traded for Joe Flacco in the offseason. Flacco is just the veteran here to buy us time to hopefully get Drew Lock ready. Flacco will probably be our day 1 quarterback, but we're all worrying about whether or not Drew Lock is the true franchise quarterback of the future here on the Broncos. He's a rookie out of Missouri. I enjoyed watching some of his games, but he's got a long way to go. Right now is the number 44 ranked quarterback in the league that has him as kind of being an average backup. So do you throw him out there on day 1 and see what happens? I don't know if I want to do that, but we're going to play through preseason and get a chance to see what he's all about. He does have some speed. He can throw a little bit on the run, so that's always a plus, especially when the offensive line isn't great. Now, it's better than it's been, but it's still got to get better. Garrett Bowles at 77 overall is in his 3rd season. Unsure yet if he's a true franchise tackle, but he's still going to be somebody that would be very expensive to re-sign regardless. They did bring in a rookie, Dalton Reisner out of Kansas State. He's 24 years old, so a little less time to develop than others. Plus, his development is only normal. So that is going to be an issue because I don't think that the scenario engine allows for offensive linemen to go up in development. I'm not sure if that's really a thing. So he might be stuck at normal dev his whole career. Still, this offensive line situation is better than a lot of teams, so hopefully in year 1, the offensive line is good enough to continue developing these running backs and to hopefully give us a chance on offense to figure out what we can do with our passing game, because there is some potential here. And one player that we'll be focusing a lot on is tight end Noah Fant from Iowa. He's only 21 years old, and he's a field-stretching tight end. And in recent years, we've seen the impact of players with this skill set. George Kittle broke out last season with over 1,500 receiving yards. Travis Kelce's very good. Zach Ertz, Evan Ingram. Could Noah Fant join that group of players as being an elite vertical threat pass catcher? A year ago, the Broncos made 2 decisions I liked a lot in adding receivers Courtland Sutton and Deshaun Hamilton. Sutton was a very good downfield receiver last season for Denver, and he's right now projected to be our number 2 receiver. I think that he and Hamilton both need a lot of development still to be true starting receivers, but because of where we're at depth-wise, they're going to play a ton. And they're going to have to show that they can separate and make plays against really good corners. Now, the big positive here is that they both have star development. So if we can get them some good production here early in the series, they'll have a chance to develop even further into superstar players, maybe earn some special skills. And that's exactly what this offense needs if they're to take the next step. Still, this is a team that has built a defensive identity, but if we're to keep it, we've got to find players outside of Chris Harris and Von Miller that can lead the way. And they drafted Bradley Chubb a season ago. They were fortunate to be able to draft him, and he could be a great replacement for Von Miller. Right now, he gets the chance to play alongside him, and I think we could have a pretty solid pass rush right away with those two coming off each edge. On the defensive line, this is an area where we have to get a lot stronger. Derek Wolfe is our only really highly rated player here, but he's also starting to get up there in age, and he's just a solid starter. At inside linebacker, Josie Jewell and Todd Davis, we'll see how they handle things here in this 3-4 defense. Typically, these inside linebackers are better run stoppers than pass cover guys, and that's certainly the case here. The issue, though, is that you gotta defend the pass. Patrick Mahomes, Phillip Rivers, Derek Carr, we've gotta slow down these quarterbacks. Right off the bat, inside linebacker and defensive line are needs for us, even though I consider the defense to be our strength. And then we've talked about the secondary a bit. If we go Harris, Jackson, Callahan across the board, that really isn't too bad. And we could have someone like Will Parks perhaps play at safety, and then we'd probably be more well-rounded that way. While this defense, I believe in year one, would have a chance to be pretty good, we're going to have to hold teams to very few points, I feel, to score victories. Our quarterback situation is far from ideal. We're trying to develop both running backs and receivers. So what I see with this team is a solid defense. However, will they still be the same as the offense tries to get up to speed? And how did I forget about our head coach? Marcus Calhoun is now the head coach of the Denver Broncos. After becoming a legendary linebacker in the Kalispell Dynasty, he enjoyed a short playing career with the Chicago Bears as an undrafted linebacker, and now he's gotten the chance to lead the way as a head coach. I hope you're all excited for this series to get underway. It feels really good to get back to franchise on this channel. I was so excited yesterday doing that stream and being really happy with the way the gameplay handled itself. So I am ready to go. And in this case, for the first game action, I actually do want to play preseason. I normally skip this, but Madden comes out so early now that in real life it is preseason week 2 tomorrow. So I know that we have a chance to get this preseason out the way and then get to the games that count. And given the state of the roster, I kind of like the idea of getting a chance to play these preseason games. And probably the most important thing is to get a look at Drew Lock. I guess you could call this a quarterback competition to be the week 1 starter, although I think it'll be Flacco. We'll see. To help us out as we try to rebuild the Broncos, we do have a little extra draft capital for next year. We have Pittsburgh's 3rd round pick and Washington's 6th round pick. So having a little extra mid-round value here is always nice. It offers flexibility if we have to move up in one of the first 2 rounds. When we take a look at the salaries on this team, we have a lot of cap space actually, but some key free agents this coming off season. One thing to remember though is that while we're paying Joe Flacco really big money at the moment, we could release him and free up a lot of space with no penalty, and we'll have that flexibility anytime. Now, even though we have Drew Lock, someone we hope we can build around, I'm not cutting Flacco right away, because what if Lock isn't ready? What if he doesn't play well? We need a quarterback out there, even if it's Joe Flacco, to help develop Courtland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, Noah Fant. So there's a reason you keep a veteran on the team that's a little bit higher rated. But after year 1, we're going to see Emmanuel Sanders hit the market. He'll be 33 years old. Derek Wolfe is going to hit the market. We're going to see Chris Harris become available. None of those players are going to be very cheap. Justin Simmons, I know he's not going to be cheap, although safeties in Madden, from what I've seen over the years, they tend to be reasonable to re-sign. I'd expect Simmons to command something around 4 years and $26 million if it's comparable to Madden 19. A couple more notes here. The Broncos did sign Jawan James to a contract in the offseason, and obviously, even average tackles command big money because you just can't afford to not have even an average offensive line. So Jawan James is making a lot of money, and that cap number is going to continue to go up, and this will be a contract that we stay with for a while likely. Oh well, I had no idea Kareem Jackson was signed to a 3-year contract, so there's a fair amount of guarantees in here. $21 million on the signing bonus. So Kareem Jackson will likely regress, but we're not really going to have a good opportunity to get out of this deal. Not that I necessarily want to, it's just normally with a team like this, I don't want older players on long deals all the time, but it is nice to have Von Miller under contract and not worry about that. But I am very excited to get this series underway, and I really wanted Franchise back on the channel. I know many of you did as well, and I hope you're happy with the Denver Broncos, and I can't wait to start building this team up. The first episode of this series is going to be preseason. We're going to go through this team and check out all the preseason highlights and all the standouts and everything important from those 4 games. And then, week 1, our first game is going to be against the Oakland Raiders. And we actually have a really tough schedule to open this season. The Raiders, they could be a really tough team. I don't know what to expect from them this coming year. But the Bears, Packers, those aren't going to be easy. We get Jacksonville and their defense, the Chargers. And down the stretch, we face teams like the Vikings, the Texans, and you know we're going to see the Chiefs twice this season as well. I love your feedback down below. I want to know what you all think about my franchise decision this year. And I'll be getting going on the preseason games then here as soon as possible to have episode 1 your way later this week. I can't wait to get to work with this team. Thank you all for watching. I hope you're excited for the Denver Broncos Madden 20 franchise to get underway. And I really can't wait to get back to this and to hopefully have a great franchise. I've been really wanting this. I will see you all soon with the debut episode of the Broncos franchise. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and have a great day.